For decades, Brad Pitt lived beneath a spotlight so intense that it often obscured the truth of what was happening in his private life. And while the world admired the handsome leading man, the magazine cover romances, and the blockbuster roles, few ever realized he carried a far more vulnerable story beneath the surface. One that he kept buried for years, until he finally acknowledged that among all the women who shaped his journey, one love stayed with him in ways he never fully escaped. Long before the headlines, before the scandals, before the weight of fame pressed against every decision, he was simply William Bradley Pitt, a kid from Shawnee, Oklahoma, born on December 18th, 1963, raised in a strict Christian home where his father managed a trucking company and his mother worked as a school counselor, and during his childhood in Springfield, Missouri, he found confidence in debate, sports, and theater. Unaware that these early sparks would eventually fuel an acting career that began when he left the University of Missouri, just 2 credits shy of graduating, and drove to Los Angeles in 1986, working odd jobs, driving limousines, delivering refrigerators, even sweating under a chicken costume while taking acting classes at night. After a string of forgettable television roles, his life changed overnight in 1991 when his brief, unforgettable performance in Thelma and Louise transformed him from anonymous to irresistible, launching him into a world where fame didn't make love easier, but far more complicated. His first great romance came with Juliette Lewis, whom he met in 1989 when she was only 17, and together they built a passionate, messy, magnetic relationship that soaked into every part of their lives. One Brad later described as one of the greatest he ever had, even though youth, rising fame, and personal struggles eventually pulled them apart. Then came Gwyneth Paltrow, the woman Brad believed he could build a future with after they met on the set of Seven in 1994, a love marked by stability, intelligence, and a sense of direction so strong that he thanked her as the love of my life at the Golden Globes in 1996 before proposing, only for the engagement to end a year later because, as Gwyneth later admitted, she was too young and overwhelmed to step into marriage, leaving Brad quietly heartbroken, a sentiment even her father shared as he mourned the end of what he believed could have been a lifelong match. Then came Jennifer Aniston, the sweetheart pairing Hollywood adored after their 2000 Malibu wedding, a marriage rooted in comfort, laughter, shared dreams, and genuine friendship, but strained by career pressures, timing, and Brad's growing artistic restlessness, culminating in their 2005 split, made even more painful by his developing connection with Angelina Jolie during Mr. and Mrs. Smith, a relationship that later produced 6 children, global humanitarian work, and a power couple era the world couldn't stop, watching only to collapse dramatically in 2016. With allegations, investigations, a painful plane fight incident, and a divorce and custody battle that dragged on for years. After weathering all of these storms, Brad finally allowed himself to say what he had long avoided, admitting in private that Juliette was the passion that shaped his youth. Jennifer was the partner who made him feel safest. Angelina was the fire that consumed nearly everything around them. But the woman he never truly got, over the one whose loss taught him the most, was Gwyneth Paltrow, because theirs was the rare relationship untouched by betrayal or bitterness. A love that ended not from failure, but from timing, leaving Brad to realize only years later how deeply she had carved herself into his heart, a truth that reveals that even the biggest stars carry quiet regrets that linger long after the curtain falls.